Blue Lock Chapter 282 has recently been released, and with it we get the reveal of Yoichi Isagi's new piece for his evolution. Now if you haven't read the chapter, I don't know what you're doing here, so I'm going to give you a couple chances to, go off and go read the chapter before you come back. Alright, you doing it? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so Isagi's newest piece to his evolution was his true flow state, aka OMNIVISION. Now if you hadn't heard of OMNIVISION or don't know what OMNIVISION is this ability that we saw in chapter 274 where Rin had scored his goal. Isagi tapped into this ability in an attempt to stop him, but he failed. But what exactly is OMNIVISION and how is it going to contribute to his evolution? Well, I'm so glad you asked, you small child, because I'm going to tell you. But before I do, you guys should totally go join my Discord server with the link being down below. Also, like and subscribe because I absolutely cooked with this theory, and if you want to hear more just like it, liking and subbing is the best way to do that. Now before going into the theory, I would suggest you go read the chapter because it does provide some context. Also, as of the time I'm making this video, I don't even have the English scans out yet, so I'm kind of just going off of translations thanks to Animasu, so bear with me for a bit. Now for what OMNIVISION exactly is, we don't have a real concrete answer. However, yours truly made a video talking about this theory over 2 months ago. So let me just explain it again. OMNIVISION is a vision style that appears to the viewer as puzzle pieces expanding from Isagi's eyes that covers his cheekbones. His hair begins to turn white and his kit begins to glow. Now as for what it does, OMNIVISION is actually 2 things. Number 1, this is Yoichi Isagi's true flow state, and 2, this is an awakened and upgraded form of Isagi's metavision. But how is it his flow state? I mean, we do know what the flow eyes look like. That is a very interesting point, but let me explain. Flow states in the series have evolved in their appearances and indication throughout the series. If you do need a more thorough breakdown, I suggest you go check out my Every Eye Explained video, but for this one I'm going to try and keep the analysis very simple. The original flow eyes were actually the egoist eyes, symbolizing a player being locked in on their plays during moments of a game. This was shown when Isagi scored his goal against Team Y, as well as Bachida's 1v11 performance against Team V. The second stage are the squiggly drawn eyes that we begin to see appear in the U20 match. This was shown when Shido scored his Big Bang Drive, as well as Aiku after blocking Yukimiya's gyro shot. And the last stage are the unique aura manifestations that differ in some way to the user's traditional aura. Examples being Rin and Bachida, with Rin's aura being this dark, destructive sludge, and Bachida's being this dark and tainted monster covering his entire body. While these auras are still relative to their traditional ones, they do still differ in ways to their traditional auras. Seen with Rin's original aura being water, and Bachida's monster usually appearing around others, but now it's cloaking himself. Now, I do personally believe that this is Yoichi Isagi's true flow state evolution, as Isagi has not only come to understand his ego enough to access this true state of flow, but has been entering his second stage of flow state more and more often in the series. This final visual for his flow state actually takes a very similar approach to Bachida's, as his puzzle pieces are not actually beginning to cover his face and brain, as opposed to just forming a new version of himself like it usually does. Another reason that I believe that this is his true flow state comes from his monologue after facing Rin. Isagi says, "I've got it too, though it's probably different than Rin's resolve. No matter how many times I've lost, even if I die, I've always been reborn and come back." Isagi himself is saying that this resolve, this ego of his, is the same as the current Itoshi Rin, which to me makes it seem like his true flow state awakening. We also see from the panel of the latest chapter that Isagi's eyes actually do have the old flow eye design visible. Now, could this not be flow? Yeah, 100%. I could be totally wrong. But again, this is just my prediction and my theory on this. But now let's address the second point, that this is an awakened version of Yoichi Isagi's metavision. Now with this ability being an awakened version of metavision, at least by my prediction, I have decided to call it OMNIVISION. It does sound better than something like metaflow, and it just rolls off the tongue super easy. If you get a problem with the name, then you can call it whatever the hell you want. And despite this ability being Isagi's true flow state, I do believe that this true flow state meshes with his metavision to create an upgraded version of it. Now OMNIVISION does work very similarly to metavision, however there is one aspect of it that I believe puts it above its previous counterpart. And just hear me out on this theory. OMNIVISION, the awakened form of metavision, works in the same way as its previous ability. However, the amount of information that OMNIVISION receives is inputted and understood much faster than metavision. And here's my evidence to this. Let's start by addressing the points in reference to its first appearance back in chapter 274. From this panel, there's clearly some symbolism on Isagi's brain here, as seen with his hair being drawn white in not just one panel, but in 2 separate panels during this chapter. And given with the most recent chapter, that was intentional. We've seen panels with Isagi's brain being highlighted by these puzzle pieces before, with his hair also being drawn white, but I believe that this was a teaser for this fully awakened flow state, in the same way metavision was teased in the third selection. Ever since metavision was coined and integrated into his playstyle during the Manshan City game, Isagi has been constantly improving his physique in order to keep up with his metavision ability, so that way he could use it for 100% of the game. And during Ubers, he trained to be able to use it for 100% of the game, as well as training his body to handle 40% lefty shooting control. And in the latest match, being PXG, Isagi had 2 weeks to train and refine his body to most likely improve his left foot to at least 70% power of his right. This is what lets his twin gun volley be such a powerful weapon, because his shots won't decrease in power despite him using his off foot. But because Isagi has been constantly training his physique, I believe his physique has now reached the point where he's fully capable of handling metavision. So in this instance of chapter 274, I believe that Isagi's metavision has now evolved to match his physical improvement. With Isagi's increased stamina, he is now able to process more information at a quicker rate, due to that being the reason for the strain on his body when originally using metavision. In reference to an evolution, Isagi can already view the entire field with his metavision. So when evolving something about this ability, he can't really upgrade his vision anymore. I mean, you can already see 100% of the field, so where are you going to upgrade? Well, he can upgrade the other part of metavision, that being his information processing and understanding of information. That's why when we see this ability, he doesn't even have the metavision pattern anymore. It's coming off of his face, showing that this ability isn't just about his vision anymore, it's about his mind. And with Rain recently destroying him and becoming this unpredictable monster, Isagi himself needs to adapt and become a player who can predict the unpredictable. This is done by inputting information faster than he could before. And again, this is only possible due to his physical training. Isagi could barely handle metavision before, but now with his training, he's far surpassed what his metavision was limiting his body to. And it shows because Isagi is all about becoming new and rebirth. His direct shot was insufficient, so he trained his body to shoot with his left. His lefty shot was starting to become inefficient, so now he can fake shots with his twin gun volley. And with Snuffy and Kaiser and Rain being able to out-metadate him or make his metavision useless, his metavision has now evolved to where he can now match those kinds of monsters. Now that was all of the evidence provided to us before this chapter, but the current events of this chapter have provided us with even more support. In chapter 282, we see Isagi recall all of Kaiser's plays and abilities. Isagi says, "Now that I think about it, everything he has said and done until now was perfectly understandable for me. Even the Kaiser impact, the fastest kick in the world, is a weapon calculated by the brain." He continues by saying that geniuses and talented learners aren't players who are in a hierarchy, but rather are on an equal plane, existing as stylistic players who can compete with each other. It's like a split evolution of Pokemon. They may be different, but they both still exist as the evolved form of this Pokemon. Isagi follows up by saying, "If talent and effort won't coincide, nothing can happen. So think like a talented learner. What me and Kaiser, who's the same type as me, can do to fight these geniuses." And now this is where we get to the good stuff. By recalling Kaiser's stylistic change, Isagi says he first started shining this match when he threw away his fixation on me and all of his choices he made until now, the moment he threw away the semblance of rationality. So I should also get rid of my fixations, my rivalry with Rain, my ill will towards Kaiser, and my admiration for Noah. Before I throw everything away, right now, what's left in me is a desire to win. And this is where we see Yoichi Isagi awaken Omnivision for the second time. We see from this panel that Isagi's eyes do appear to have the flow style with the puzzle pieces spread across his face. We've had Ego discuss flow, especially in the most recent anime episode, where even he says that it's a unique state to each individual player. And this right here confirms that this is Yoichi Isagi's true flow state awakening. But how do these statements contribute to my theory saying that Omnivision is an awakened form of metavision? Well, flow in itself is simply a state of mind heralded by reflex. And with Isagi, his metavision has been all about seeing, thinking, and then moving, just like his spatial awareness, at least very recently. But now with Isagi in this true flow state, he can immediately rush to a location that he considered to be the most deadly without even thinking about it. These moments discard the meta points from the previous ability, as those focus on the most optimal and rational space. This vision ability allows for Isagi to view the most deadly or unpredictable movements, plays, and locations on the pitch, allowing for all of the benefits of metavision with the added bonus of being able to predict and perform on the levels of geniuses. But again, that's simply my own theory. Either way though, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. I was incredibly hyped when reading this chapter, especially since I predicted this over 2 months ago. So it was just a surreal experience for me as a content creator. I hope you guys did enjoy the theory too, and until this ability is coined, let's all just call it Omnivision. Because why not? It sounds cool. Aside from that though, for the question of the video, what would you call this true flow state of Isagi? Would you call it Omnivision, or do you have your own unique name for it? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this.